Hello, champions. How are you doing today? Are we connected? I just need a few of you. Let's discuss something very important. Should you buy your house or your rental properties cash, or should you finance it? That's what I want to discuss with you in just a few minutes. So, if you can just give me maybe 10 or 15 minutes of your time, we can get this done very quickly. I'm going to give you a few minutes to connect, and also please share the video with someone, and hopefully they can also learn something tonight. So, how are you doing? How was your week? Mine was amazing. I sold 6 homes this week. Today was great. I went to church. Service was amazing. And yeah, we talked about David and Goliath. And Goliath is any giant that you have in your life that is preventing you from achieving your dreams or doing anything that's important to you. So you have to be able to overcome those Goliaths and be like David. Okay. So yeah, that's what I learned today. How was your day? What did you do today? I'm reading the comments for a few seconds, for a minute, while we wait for others to come. And I apologize, I was chewing gum. It's disrespectful to chew gum while I talk to you. So pardon me. I'm gonna trash that. All right. So who's connected? Where are you? Where are you joining me from? What's your first name? And what's your city? Who's connected? Send me a message. Send me some love. Let me make sure that I know who's connected tonight. That way I can a little bit personalize this conversation. Okay? Just one more minute and we'll get started. So, who's connected? What's your name? What's your city? Okay, I see Bolingo Love, my girl from Congo, who's in Maryland currently. Welcome, Bolingo Love. Who else do we have here? Anybody else? What's your city? What's your name? Who else do we have? Who else do we have here? I'm going to an event right now because I just thought I had to have this conversation with you. I've been thinking of it, and I've been so busy that I wasn't able to make this happen. But I have to do it today. I have to do it today, even if it means uh, getting to my event late. So my family is gonna step in before me, and I'm going to join them right after this conversation. So we have Severine Prudy from Boston, my namesake. Welcome, Severine. How are you doing? How was your week? How was your Sunday? Guys, I'm gonna join you soon, okay? Mago so. Mhm. Okay, so who else do we have here? All right. Yeah. So please just give me your name and your city in the comments, and I would love to connect with you. All right. So today, let me turn on this AC so that I don't start sweating. Okay. All right. So today I want to discuss something that's very important. I'm sure somebody like my namesake Severine Pretty, you already know most of the things I'm going to talk about today. And so for those who don't know, we recently created a real estate tontine, a real estate njangi or susu, and we call it the Millionaire Real Estate Tontine. And it's just a group that we put together, and we contribute $2,000 every month, and we put all of that money together. We use it as a down payment to purchase rental properties. We've already purchased a couple, and we put tenants in there, and we generate cash flow that way, and we share that cash flow, and we build generational wealth that way. So if you're interested, please send a message on my page, Coach Lisa Prudy, and one of my team members will reach out to you. Okay, for the next session. So every quarters, every 3 months, we use all the money that we've contributed. So $2,000 a month times three, it's about 6,000 per person. And for those 3 months, we put the money together. So if there is 20 of us, that is about 120,000. If we're 30 of us, that's about 180,000. and so on and so forth. And we can use that to invest in properties and purchase millions of dollars worth of real estate. So that's a movement that we started in the community so that we can build generational wealth that way. So you're welcome to join us. Places are limited. We don't want everyone. We just want people that are committed, that understand real estate investing, and that are willing, to take on this journey with us. So that being said, I've already explained all of this to all the members of the millionaire movement, of the millionaire real estate movement, and they know, what it entails, because we've purchased some of our properties cash and we've financed some of our properties, so they know the difference. But I just wanted to share that with all of you out there so that you can make better decisions. So please be kind. Caring, sharing is caring, and caring is sharing, if I may. So please share this video with someone, and so that the person can also learn from this today. All right. All right. Without further ado, we're going to get started. When you purchase a property cash, the good thing is that you don't owe anybody anything. Right? You don't owe them. What I mean by anybody is the bank. One thing for sure, you still owe the IRS. In the United States, you still have to pay taxes. It's not like in Cameroon, in other countries, in Africa, and some other countries in the world where you can have a property and nobody knows that you own that property, and there's no track of it, and you may not even pay taxes, and nobody knows, right? Because your property is not really registered somewhere. That's possible, but in the United States, it's pretty hard that you can have a property without the IRS being aware of it, which is the institution that regulates taxes here, right, in the United States. So please share the video. It can help someone. All right. So when you purchase your property, if you're buying it cash, you don't have to pay any kind of interest to the bank. You have peace of mind, right? That the bank is not going to be after you. If something happens to you, your family is going to inherit the property without having to, worry about paying a mortgage or something like that, because you own the property outright. So number one is you're not going to owe the bank anything. And number two, you're going to have peace of mind. Number three, the entire appreciation of your property or anything like that, you have all of that coming in for you. So you can't have, for example, you don't, if you decide to refinance the property, everything that you earn on that property, you can refinance that at one point or finance it at one point, and all of that money is going to be available to you. But if you are financing the property, or there's a mortgage on the property, you owe the bank some money. So they're going to try to pay the bank first and see what is left, and they can finance you based on that amount and see, what they can give you if you need money to do something. So, but if you don't owe the bank, then you have more money available to you, right? That means you have anytime you can have some liquidity if you decide to mortgage the house or anything like that. So that's something that's available. It's an option that is available to you. And so you don't have that money handy for you to go and spend anytime and anyhow, because in order for you to have that liquidity, you will have to, first of all, either mortgage the property or sell it or something like that before you get the money. So by then, maybe the issue that you needed to solve, you may have found another solution for it. But assuming that you didn't use all of that money, right, and you instead financed the property, the rest of the money, there's always going to be a problem, especially we Africans. Somebody's always going to call you that they have a problem. You're going to end up spending that money on things that you may not be able to track later on, because you're going to be like, where did my money go, right? So sometimes if you're the kind of person that spends too much and too easily, it's better for you to buy your property cash, so that all the money is in the house and you can't risk spending it. So that's another advantage. That's another benefit of buying your property cash is that you don't have that money. You don't no longer have that money, and you cannot squander it. You can't, if you're like me and you like fashion and you like shopping, that money is not going to be available for you to go out there and start shopping, right? Like a friend of mine called me yesterday and she was like, "Do you know Versace sales?" Right? And so they're doing the yearly sales. Everything is either 30% off or 40 or 50% off. And so everybody wants to jump out there and go spend that money. But if I don't have that money because I bought the property cash, I'm not going to spend it. So that's really another benefit. There are lots of benefits, when you purchase your property cash. But now let's see what are the what is the difference, or what are also the upside or the benefits of financing a property, right? So assuming that I have $250,000. If I have $250,000 and I have the choice between using all my $250,000 to go buy one house, but I also have the opportunity to finance, properties around me, here's what I would do. I'll take my primary residence for myself, and as a primary residence, I'm allowed to pay only 3 to 5% down payment. And there are some banks and credit unions, I think even Navy Federal Credit Union would give you a 0% down payment house. So I'll first of all take my primary residence, because it is better to not be renting if you have the money to purchase a house. In my opinion, we can have another life for this, but depending on your situation, you might want to keep renting. But if you are stable and you know where you want to be, I recommend that you purchase rather than renting. So the first thing I'm going to do is take some of that money, get my primary residence, right? So that I'm no longer renting. And assuming that I probably spend about $50,000 for my primary residence, for the down payment, assuming that maybe my primary residence is something like, let's say, 500,000 or something like that. I'm gonna have to pay my down payment and also pay the closing costs and things like that. But I take my primary residence, and then what do I do with the rest of the money? Assuming that I now have maybe 200,000 left or $220,000 left. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to now go ahead and purchase 4 properties, right? With that same money. I'm going to put a down payment of 20%. So if I'm purchasing a property, let's say a $250,000 property, the down payment, if it's 20%, would likely be 50,000, right? You guys know I'm not good in math. So I would need about $50,000 on that property for a down payment. And so I can buy 4 properties with $50,000 down payment. And now what's going to happen? And then the rest of the money, if there's any extra, I'm going to pay my closing costs and all of that, for the property. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put tenants in those properties, assuming that if I were to purchase a house cash and put a tenant in it, let's say that house is $250,000 and I put a tenant in there who's paying me $2,000 a month, right? I'm taking the entire $2,000. I'm gonna have to pay the taxes, probably $200. I'm also going to pay insurance on the house, probably $50. I'm also going to maybe pay HOA or some other fees, maybe $50 again. That's about, let's say, $200 that I'm going to spend, 300, something like that I'm going to spend, right? So what I'm going to be left with every month in terms of net, it's going to be about $1,700 if I had purchased that property cash and I'm not paying any mortgage. But now if I have a mortgage on those properties, I'm gonna still rent it out for $2,000, right? But my mortgage is going to be about $1,400 or $1,500. And assuming that my mortgage is $1,500, in the mortgage is included my insurance, including my taxes, including the principal, including the interest. So all of that being $1,500, I'm left with $500, right, on each property. And assuming that I have 4 investment properties, those properties are going to generate a total of $2,000 per month, right? Because I'm going to have $500 net after paying the mortgage and everything else. 500 each is going to be $2,000. And assuming that I have some fees or anything like that, it might still end up being about 1,700, just almost the same as if I was to purchase that property cash. Are you following me? I hope you're following me. So we are looking at about the same total cash flow every month, right? If I were to purchase one property cash with my money, or rent or buy 4 investment properties, and I already have my primary residence. Okay, so now you can see the difference. I have a primary residence, and I also have 4 investment properties, but with cash transaction, all I have is one property. Okay, and this is where the magic happens. Where the magic happens is that, let's say, in real estate in general, it's as you know, studies have shown that properties tend to double in value within 10 years, right? And I have experienced this myself. I tell you that all the time. My first property in the United States was purchased in 2012 for 200,000, and in 2020 I sold it for 400,000, right? It's public record if you look it up online. And so at that point, I made $200,000 of equity 8 years later. So assuming that you purchase a property and that within the next 10 years, it doubles in value, here's where the magic happens. That one property that you purchased doubled in value. So it went from 250,000 to 500,000. So now you're the lucky one. You made $250,000 of equity, right? Of profit, of after using the house. If you were renting it after getting the cash flow, you still come out with that extra 250,000 within 10 years. But now here's the difference with somebody who financed their property. If you finance the property, we now have that primary residence. We have 4 properties, and those 4 properties, what's going to happen to them? Those 4 properties are also going to double in value within 10 years. And I'm not, you guys know, I always go based on fact. I don't tell stories that I read in books. I don't tell stories that I that I hear from other coaches out there or other real estate agents. I am a hands-on coach. I'm a hands-on mentor. I'm a hands-on realtor. And that's the reason why I'm a 5-stars realtor, because I am experienced. And anything that I teach my clients or my mentees, I have applied those things, right? So I actually really apply what I preach. And this is real. This is facts. Just recently, one of my clients purchased 4 properties. This is somebody who's in IT. He makes about $400,000 a year. He probably has 2 jobs or something like that, but he makes about $400,000 a year. He has saved 200,000, and he wanted to invest that in real estate. So we purchased 4 properties for him. We put in tenants, and those tenants are generating cash flow for him. And those properties are new build. And one of them, when we bought them, like not all at once, but we're buying them gradually. The first one that we bought was $225,000 in a brand new community, and I shared that information with you a couple of months ago, right? When that community started selling properties at 225,000, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, brand new, right? All stainless steel appliances, granite countertop, beautiful community, 1 hour and 20 minutes from DC. Amazing, amazing area. You guys know I always share everything, all the opportunities that I find, I share them with you. I did share that. And a few of you took action. This person now has 4 properties, netting $500 a month. And from the time that we purchased the first property at 225,000, I can give you the address if you contact me. Those same properties in the same community, the builder has about maybe 70 more homes to build or more. But as the builder continues to build, the builder is adding about $10,000 extra every month. And those properties are building equity. So as we speak, the first property that was purchased at 225,000 is now selling at 258,000. And the builder informed me, the builder representative that I work with informed me yesterday that they are going to $268,000 effective the 27th of this month. So basically what that means is that this client of mine would have built $40,000 worth of equity on that first property. And it's great because even we, the millionaire movement, we purchased a property in that community too. At the beginning, when they started selling at lower prices, we purchased properties there too. So now think about it. And again, I told you this is where the magic happens. You now have to take $250,000 times 4. So what that means is that 10 years, within the next 10 years, the person who purchased the property cash would make $250,000 of equity. And the person who financed their properties is going to make what? $250,000 times 4 for the investment properties. That's $1 million. Now, the first property being their primary residence, right? Which is assuming that property was also 250,000, that is going to be another $250,000 equity extra. That is $1,250,000 of equity within 10 years. This is the difference between the two. So you tell me what you prefer. Are you going to go for a $250,000 equity within 10 years, or you're going to take the risk of financing your properties and having $1,250,000 within 10 years? Which one do you prefer? A, B, cash financing, Which one do you prefer? I think it's clear, it's obvious what the choice should be. Now, I have to be honest with you. And one thing that people know about me as a realtor, I am always 100%. I am not going to take you into something without you understanding what are the risks. The risks here are as follows. If you're financing the properties, you also have to make sure you have an insurance, including vacancy insurance, just in case you have tenants that leave the property and you have to find another tenant. You have that vacancy, that time of vacancy. Either you get insurance or you save some of your cash flow to cover your mortgage during the time that you're going to have vacancy, because for sure you might have some vacancy, unless you are, as sharp as I am. Because when I work with my clients, we also have a property management business on the side that only caters to our clients. So it's only when you purchase properties with us that we assist you by helping you find tenants to put in your property. And usually we start advertising your property even before you close. So by the time you go to closing, you're also giving the keys to the tenant. There's no vacancy. And also they have to now transfer the utilities to their name directly. So the utilities don't go from the builder to you and from you to the tenant, right? That's how I roll. We work day and night to make sure that we give 5 stars, excellent world-class service to our clients. So if you have the experience that we have and you know how to find good tenants, then you might not have a big issue with vacancy. And we also pick the areas where we buy properties. We pick that very carefully, right? But you still want to plan for vacancy. And not only that, you might also have a tenant in who is not paying. Although the tenant is still occupying the property, they might pay late or not pay. So you want to be prepared in case you have a tenant who pays late, that you're going to be ready to pay your mortgage, right? So you always want to plan accordingly. Always have some reserves. And a good lender will always ask you for reserves. So although I was talking about you having $250,000 and investing all of that, I am assuming that you have invested in the stock market. I'm assuming that you have about $20,000 of income every month or more or something like that. I'm assuming that you have a business that's generating income. I'm assuming that for the first few months, your tenants' cash flow, all of that is going to go to your reserves, at least for the first 6 months. Put that money in your reserves, right? So that way you're protected. You always pay your mortgage on time, and you continue to build your portfolio. With what I just explained to you, a few years after, you can even refinance those properties and use the cash to buy more properties, so that within the next 10 years, you might end up finding yourself with maybe 20, 25, 50 properties, right? And that's why when you go on YouTube and you see that people have 50, 100 properties, you don't know how they're getting to that number. Some people have 300 properties, 400 units. You don't know how they're getting to those numbers. That's because they're buying properties, they're financing those properties, and they are refinancing them after they have built some equity, and then use that money to go buy even more properties. So to conclude, if you are, you don't have a very good risk tolerance, you just want to go with your cash, buy the property cash, put one tenant in it, and be happy with $250,000 within the next 10 years. But if you like to take risk like me, but you take a calculated risk and you have your risk management strategy, I am always willing to pay the lowest down payment possible. The reason being that I know what I'm going to do with the extra cash. Do not finance a property just so that you can keep the money, the rest of the money in the bank, and just look at it like our grandfathers used to do, and just look at the cash and be happy that you have money in the bank. It doesn't make sense. It's better for you to use all of that money, just buy the property cash. And I say the same thing for everything else that you can finance, even a car. When I first arrived in the United States, my first years here, I was buying my cars and paying them off within 6 months, because I didn't know what was the system. I didn't know what I was going to do with the money. And I didn't want to pay all this interest when I had money in the bank. So I was working hard, working overtime, and then just trying to pay off my car notes within 3 to 6 months. But then I was learning, getting my financial education. And then as soon as I understood what I could do with the money, invest in the stock market, invest in real estate, invest in a business, all of that, I started financing for a longer period of time, right? This car that I'm sitting in, this Mercedes GL, I've been financing it for a couple of years now, right? I only have maybe 10,000 or 5,000 left to pay on the car, but I know what I'm using that money to do, right? So if I'm going to pay high interest on something, it's better for me to just pay cash for that. But keep in mind, houses right now are still below 10%. Credit cards are like 24%. So houses, the interest rate is still low, if you ask me, right? As long as you can have a tenant that will cover the full amount of your mortgage, and you're still going to have some cash flow left, even if it's $250, even if it's $300 cash flow, take it. Even if it's $500, take it, because real estate wealth is built in the long run, right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And within 10 years, by the time you know it, you now have multi-million dollar worth of a real estate portfolio or empire. Okay, so I hope this was very helpful, and I hope this is going to allow you to make a very informed decision as to, should I continue to leave money in the bank, or should I start investing in real estate? I know some of you watching today, you are making $300,000 a year. I spoke with some of you that have like 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 in your bank account, 500,000. I spoke to one recently. Good job in IT, making a lot of money, almost $500,000 a year, and all of that money is sitting in the bank. And I'm glad the person has decided now to hire your 5 stars realtor, and we are working on a strategy, on a plan to start acquiring properties as much as we can, right? In different states where I have great neighborhoods where we can have good tenants. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. And I hope it's going to really push you to finally take action. Okay, if you were still hesitating, wondering what you should do, some of you are putting 40% down on properties. Yeah, if you don't know what to do with your money, please put as much as you can down on your property or your car or anything, so that you can pay less every month. At least you're not going to go squander your money, on useless things, right? But if you have a good realtor, okay, like your 5 stars realtor, you can always ask your real estate your realtor for advice as to how to invest your money and get the most out of your money. And that's my goal. That's my mission, is to help all of us build generational wealth through real estate. So again, this is your cash flow queen speaking. And you know, I love cash flow. And I'm hoping that you're going to reach out to me very soon on my page, Coach Lisa Pretty. And we're going to start making you some cash flow. Instead of investing and instead of buying properties cash, we are going to finance those properties so that we can make some cash flow. It was great having this conversation with you tonight. I'm going to go to my event now and have some fun. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I would find some time next week and we're going to have another conversation. Okay. Until then, please always remember, you can achieve your dream. Yes, it's possible. And yes, you can. Peace out.